Okay, hi everyone, and today what we're going to do is we are going to look at how to divide fractions. Cool thing about dividing fractions is that it's very similar to multiplying fractions. Okay, so if you struggle or you don't know how to multiply fractions, if you can go ahead and go look for the multiplying fractions video. If you can look at that video, that would help you out. And then once you've learned how to do that and you know how to multiply fractions, you can come back here and get started on dividing fractions. Okay, so for dividing fractions, we actually are only going to follow some very simple steps. And that is called keep, change, flip. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to change our division problems into multiplication problems by following the rules of keep, change, flip. Okay, so what that means is I am going to keep my first fraction. I'm going to change my division into multiplication, and then I'm going to flip my second fraction. Okay, I'm going to flip the second fraction. That's what's also called its reciprocal. Okay, so keep, change, flip. So my new problem, if I keep it, it's still going to be 1/2. Change to multiplication, and I'm going to flip 3/5 so that it is now 5/3. I just flipped it around. Okay, so 1/2 divided by 3/5 really becomes 1/2 times 5/3. And then now we just do the multiplication steps that we've learned before. We multiply straight across. I learned that 1 times 5, I know that 1 times 5 is 5, and 2 times 3 is 6. I can't reduce that. It is in its simplest form. I'm all done. So the answer is 5/6. Let's look at another problem. So again, I want to keep my first fraction, change my division to multiplication, and flip my second fraction. Okay, so when I do all those steps, I am now going to have 2/3 still times the flipped fraction, or the reciprocal, would be 9/4. And I would just do the same steps that I would normally do in a multiplication problem. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look to see if I can cross reduce. And luckily I actually can. If I'm looking diagonally here at 3 and 9, I can cross reduce because they both share a common factor of 3. Okay, so I'm going to divide both of these by 3. That's going to become 1. This is going to become 3. And also I can look at 2 and 4 and see if they share a common factor. And they do share a common factor of 2. So I can divide both of these by 2. Cancels out and becomes 1, and then 4 divided by 2 is 2. So now I actually have 1/1 times 3/2, and that's just going to be 3/2, or 3/2. You can leave, I do not care if you leave the answers as an improper fraction. You do not have to change it into a mixed number. Let's look at another problem. Mixed numbers. What we're going to do with mixed numbers is we're going to actually change those into improper fractions. Okay? To change it to an improper fraction, I need to multiply the whole number by the denominator and then just add the numerator. Okay? So, when I do that, 3 times 3 is 9, and then I have to add whatever my numerator is. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10. My denominator stays the same. 2 times 4 is 8, plus 1 is 9. And I keep my denominator of 4. So now I have 10/3 divided by 9/4, and now I'm going to follow my rules of keep, change, flip. Okay, so 10/3 divided by 9/4 becomes 10/3 times 4/9. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to check to see if I can cross reduce at all, and it does not look like I can. So I'm going to multiply straight across. 10 times 4 is 40. 3 times 9 is 27. I'm just going to double check to make sure to see if 40 and 27 share any common factors, and they do not, so this would be my final answer. So now what we're going to do is we're going to got one more problem, just one more different type of problem. Now I have 3/7 divided by 5. So I have a fraction divided by a whole number. And the one thing I want to make sure that we remember, just kind of grabbing onto our prior knowledge, is that every single whole number, if we were to rewrite it as a fraction, we can just put a denominator of 1. Okay? Every whole number, we can just put a denominator of 1 just so it looks like a fraction divided by a fraction. And then now what I can do is, again, I can do my keep, change, flip. So when I do that, I'm going to keep 3/7, so it stays 3/7. I'm going to change my division to multiplication, and then I'm going to flip around 5 over 1. So now that's going to become 1 over 5. So I have 3/7 times 1/5. I'm just going to multiply straight across because I cannot cross-reduce. There's no common factors here. 3 times 1 is 3. 7 times 5 is 35. I'm going to check to make sure that they can't be reduced and that 3 and 35 do not share any common factors, and they do not. So 3 over 35 is going to be my final answer. Okay, guys, and that is it for dividing fractions. Again, if you struggle with the multiplication, please go watch my multiplying fractions video, and hopefully that'll help you out, and hopefully we've got this dividing thing down.